Hello, this is Music Tech Help Guy. Welcome to this video tutorial on creating an ambient reversed piano effect in Logic Pro 10. So what I'm working with here is I've got some piano chords up here in MIDI. I also have this Ultra Beat drum kit down here. It's sort of like an ambient drum kit. I'll show that to you guys later. First, let's pick a patch that's going to work for us. Now, the Logic 9 user in me wants to go to Setting, Legacy, Logic, Acoustic Pianos, and Bosendorfer, and choose one of my Bosendorfer pianos, but I catch a lot of shit for that sometimes, so I'm not going to use the legacy settings. I'm going to go to the library like a good Logic 10 user, and go to Piano, Bosendorfer Grand Piano, so we'll do that. All right, so here's our patch. Let me just play our chords for us. So the piano idea is essentially just 4 chords that repeat themselves. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, this MIDI data, we're going to right-click on it, we're going to use the bounce in place function. You can also use Control B. And hit OK. It's going to convert our MIDI data and our software instrument into audio. And the first thing we're going to do is use the marquee tool. I'm going to turn my snap mode to bar. And we're just going to trim this up a bit. The second thing we're going to do is, still using bar mode, we're going to use the scissors tool. And what you can do with the scissors tool is cut each one of these notes, these chords, into its own MIDI clip. Now, there's actually a quicker way to do this. If you hold Option while using the scissors tool, it'll actually do it to all of them. So that's really cool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to reverse each one of these chords. So we want to layer a reversed version of each chord underneath each chord. So I'm going to double click on the first one. It will probably put you in the track editor. Make sure that you go to the file editor and go to Functions, Reverse. You can also use the key command Control-Shift-R, which I never use. So I click on each one of these, go to Functions, Reverse. Now, if you don't see the file and track editor when you open this up, it most likely means that you don't have all of your advanced tools turned on in Logic. And as I've said a million times, it's imperative that you turn all of those on, because if you don't, you're basically just using an advanced version of GarageBand, a glorified version of GarageBand. If you don't know how to turn those on, go up to Logic Pro X, Preferences, Advanced Tools. Very simple. All right, so I got these reversed piano sounds. Let's listen to those. So that's cool by itself, but let's layer this with our original piano. So what I'm going to do is drag over the MIDI clip. When you use the bounce in place function, it automatically mutes the MIDI clip. So I'm going to hit Control M to undo that, or to unmute the clip. Let's see what that sounds like. Now, although that sounds cool, it's a little bit abrupt for me. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to trim off the attack of each one of these reversed ones, these reversed chords. And I'm also going to fade in each of the reversed chords. So I'm going to drag over all of these. I'm going to go up to the region parameters in the inspector here. And I'm going to create a fade out, or excuse me, a fade in length of 1000. You just double click. You should be able to double click. There we go. Double click. Double click. There we go. I don't know what the deal is. And enter in, I'm going to use 1000 millisecond delay, which is a 1 second, or a 1 second fade, I should say, 1000 millisecond fade. And I'm also going to use a 100 millisecond fade out. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to use first of all, I'm going to turn off my snap mode. And I'm just going to trim this up quite a bit. I don't want the end of that attack in there. I just want this to be sort of like a softer ending to each one of these clips. And then what I'm going to do is just pull them over so that they just barely go over this bar line. There we go. So we're just softening up the back end of each one of these reversed piano hits. So let's listen to this. Cool. So it sounds a little more fluid now that we don't have each one of those transients in the reversed piano clip. All right. The last thing I'm going to do with editing this is I'm going to use bar mode again, and this time I'm going to make sure that the snap regions to relative value is on, and I'm going to duplicate this very last chord by holding Option up here, just to create an initial fade in. And there we go. Okay, so it's still kind of dry. Let's open up our mixer. I'm going to hit X. One of the reasons why I made the joke about using the channel strip settings to pick presets is because one of the things I don't like about Logic 10 is that well, I don't want to say most, but a lot of the library settings that you choose come with predefined bus settings, which I hate. I absolutely hate that. So I'm going to turn off both of these buses. And I'm also going to delete the 2 buses that were created for reverb because I want to create my own reverb. I don't want Logic to dictate this. So I'm going to drag over both my piano and my reversed piano tracks. And I'm going to create a bus on bus 1, pull the amount up a bit. On my aux track over here, I'm going to call this reverb. I'm going to put Space Designer on there. So we're going to make this a little bit more ambient. The effect or the setting I'm going to use is under large spaces, warped spaces, and it's called Black Hole. We'll use that one. Now we want the reverb amount, we want the dry amount to be all the way down because this is on an aux track, but the reverb amount can be really anywhere you want it to be, so I'm going to throw it there. Let's see what this sounds like. So I just pulled up the bus on the reverse track a bit. I'm going to pull the bus down on the the original track. Then I'm going to create a second bus. And this one is going to be a delay aux track. So I'll type in delay. This one will use the stereo delay plugin. And what we'll do is we'll delay this by a quarter note on one channel and by a half note on another channel. Make sure that the deviation is at 0%. I'm going to cut some of the high end out, cut some of the low end out. And I'm going to make sure that the output mix is at 100% because we are on an aux track. There's no need for any dry signal to be here. So let's pull these 2 buses up a bit. Let's see what this does for us. Cool, so we have this sort of cool, sort of swelling in piano effect with some delay and reverb. Let's hear what this sounds like with our Ultra Beat drums. This is just a stock Ultra Beat kit that I used channel EQ, or excuse me, I used linear EQ just to cut out the high end, the pitch shift plugin just to detune it, stereo delay just to create a delay effect, and then Space Designer just to create sort of like a more atmospheric ambient sound out of it. So let's hear what this sounds like. Let me start from the beginning this time. And there you go. It's really not that special. All it requires is just using the reverse function in the track or file editor, I should say. and then a little bit of reverb just to sort of make it a little bit more ambient. And you could really do this with any instrument. I'm just using the piano as an example here. So it really works with any instrument, not just piano. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.